Hi, welcome to a new vlog. I hope you're doing well. We are officially in September and this is so exciting. I do have a selection of books that I've desperately been wanting to read and I just haven't gotten to them. But this is a very exciting video. It's not just about cozy reads or my super cute autumnal jumper. And I actually forgot the other part of this video that makes it so exciting. Let me go get it. Here it is. This is my autumnal kind of advent calendar. It's filled with activities. So the idea is that every day this week I am going to pick a little paper from in here depending on how much time I have that day. And I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do the activity, what it tells me to do. Because there's like 6 categories, I'm going to do one category a day. So we'll see how it goes. And obviously side by side with that, I'm going to be reading. When I'm not doing the activities, I'm reading. But I may be working a little bit as well, which is why I love audiobooks. But yes, let's get into the books now. During summer, I finally finished the Wisteria Society for Lady Scoundrels by India Holton. And the second one in the series is the League of Gentlewomen Witches. The first one we were following Lady Pirates, and this one we're following witches. Just when you thought it was safe to go back into the tea house. Miss Charlotte Pettifer belongs to a secret league of women skilled in the subtle arts. That is to say, although it must never be said, witchcraft. The League of Gentlewomen Witches strives to improve the world in small ways. Using magic, they tidy, correct, and manipulate according to their notion of what is proper, entirely unlike those reprobates in the Wisteria Society. So they view themselves as the opposite of Lady Scoundrels. When the long-lost amulet of Black Beryl is discovered, it is up to Charlotte, as a future leader of the League, to make sure the powerful talisman does not fall into the wrong hands. Therefore, it is most unfortunate when she crosses paths with Alex O'Reilly. Oh, he was in the other book. A pirate who is no Mr. Darcy. With all the world scrambling after the amulet, Alex and Charlotte join forces to steal it together. If only they could keep their pickpocketing hands to themselves. Alex is not careful. He might just steal something else, such as Charlotte's heart. Ooh, that sounds so good. I'm actually super excited to read this book. The second one that I've been wanting to read is The House Witch by the author that I'm just going to leave on screen because I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce their name. But this is a heartwarming and humorous blend of fantasy, romance, and mystery, featuring a witch with domestic powers and the royal household he serves dinner to. We then have Shady Hollow by Juno Black. I don't know how to pronounce that name. I'm just going to leave it on screen again. But this is a series of cozy mysteries. I think it's kind of middle grade. It follows animals in their little town, especially a fox detective. But one day, a toad turns up dead and the local reporter... Oh, I'm sorry, I said a fox detective. I meant a fox reporter that decides to investigate this case. Finds more to this town than she ever suspected. It seems someone in the Hollow will do anything to keep her from solving the case, and soon it will take all of Vera's cunning and quickness to crack the case. I mean, it's a short little murder mystery and it sounds super cozy and amazing, and I want to read it immediately. Finally, I have a graphic novel which is The OK Witch by Emma Steinkellner. This follows a girl that loves all things witchy. I think she lives with her aunts. And one day she discovers she's actually a witch. So obviously there's gonna be shenanigans involved and she may lose control of her magic. I don't know. I know it's cozy and heartwarming and it's about self-discovery and probably acceptance, and it just sounds divine. The illustrations are super cute. I'm super excited to read it. I know I said I'm super excited to read all of these books, but it's true. I'm gonna take one at random for the first one. Then I'll have to start doing colors, I think. Or we'll see. Okay, I have a brown, which is a longer interior activity. Oh, that's a good one. Watch fall Hallmark movies. I can do that. I shall be doing that this evening. I know I said Hallmark. I will see what's on Netflix that has the same setup of being autumnal and kind of silly and romantic. And I shall also start my book this evening before going to bed. I really hope you're excited for this vlog. Have frozen pizza in the freezer, so I might do one of those with some soup that I made yesterday and watch the Hallmark movies, and then I'll read before going to bed. Welcome to day 2 of this vlog. Yesterday was so much fun watching those Hallmark movies. The Pumpkin Pie Wars, which was quite fun and actually much more interesting than I thought it was gonna be. It's a bit hot again, so I'm wearing my cropped jumper basically, and I'm not lighting a candle, and my tea is now cold, so everything is great. Moving on to books, I did end up reading 15% of the League of Gentlewomen Witches. I am on chapter 3, page number 31, and I feel like we're now getting into the book. Till now we had a little bit of an introduction to this setting and who the characters are. We already had a mention of the characters from the previous book in this series. So I would say it's better to read this in order, even though they're technically standalone books. I think it's good for now, but we'll see, because now it's when we're actually going to start the story. We basically had a little bit of a setup. We had a first meeting of our 2 main characters. We spent a little bit of time with our witch and a little bit of time with our pirate. And we're just kind of understanding their circumstances before the story starts. But I'm not sure it's going to be as autumnal as I want it to be. Our pick for the day. I've finally decided to go with a green, and that will be go read at the cathedral. This is a very good one. I like doing this, which is one of my favorite things to do. So let's do that. I shall also stop by Red Source for a little something. Maybe nothing big, maybe just like a cheese straw, which are one of my favorite. Actually, they are my favorite cheese straw in the world. So maybe I'll get one of those. Oh, that sounds perfect. Let's go do that. Cue the montage. See you in a bit. Hi, I have just come back from reading at the cathedral. Let's talk about the 100 pages I read from this book. I'm having a really nice time with this book. It feels so cozy. The main character is immediately relatable and just super cute. And there are some autumn leaves here and there and some pumpkins. So that really brings a little bit of autumn into it. I'm really enjoying this book. It's really heartwarming. I'm excited to continue. This morning I have a reading update, and obviously we're gonna pick another one of these. I have made it to 32% of this book. Not as much as I wanted, but actually I've been quite busy. It's a really fast-paced adventure book, filled with humor and dialogue, but very plot heavy. So if you're looking for a very atmospheric, whimsical autumn read, this is not it. The book is really good, as is the Osteria Society for Lady of Lady Scoundrels, but it just doesn't have that atmosphere that I love for autumn. And I do love these books, and actually the first one in this series has become one of my favorites of the year. Even if it is set in this time of year, I'm having a good time, but it's not really the book I want to be reading, which is why I really enjoyed reading The OK Witch. I am still not finished with this, but I only have a little bit left, and I shall give you my final thoughts probably today or tomorrow. I'm really enjoying the League of Gentlewomen Witches. I could have read it any time of year. Let's get into this. We'll see. This time I'm gonna go in blind. I'm gonna get the first thing I can get my hands on from way down below. Oh yes! Board game evening. Yes! I'm all for this. I literally just got a new game. This is perfect. So this evening we will be playing Agatha Christie's Death on the Cards. It says, a card game for 2 to 6 sleuthing friends and family members, inspired by the works of Agatha Christie. Oh my god, this is so exciting. I may get some snacks, so kind of like popcorn to go with this. Sounds amazing. Let's do this evening. Super excited. So I may read a bit this today, but we'll see how this goes. As I said, we'll meet back here in the evening, so we'll see each other then. Hi, good morning. Welcome to day 4. Today we're obviously picking something else from this spot. Something else from this spot. But I have also finished The OK Witch by Emma Steinkellner. And yeah, it was such a good, cozy coming-of-age story with a kind of classic small town setting in America where you have the founding families that in this case have been in on the secret that witches exist, and they're basically witch hunters, and you follow this young girl that doesn't know she's a witch but always loved everything witchy, and one day she accidentally exhibits some powers, and from then on her mother has to fess up that actually they are witches. She discovers her mother's diary, she starts going through it, talking cat appears, and it's basically a little, coming of age, adventurous story about this witch that has just discovered she's a witch and now is kind of entering this world that she didn't really know existed. There are a lot of mysteries surrounding the history of the town. I really loved it. I thought it was such a solid read for autumn with the talking cat and interesting family dynamics and a super lovable best friend. It's a really good story, and there's a second one which I'm excited to now get because I want to continue following this story. The only thing I didn't love was the end, but it's kind of expected in graphic novels. They're never very long and it takes a long time to create all of these illustrations and the story itself. There's always something missing for me in graphic novels, and in this case it's right at the end. Having into account the personalities involved in this story, everyone is very headstrong. It doesn't make sense for me that it got resolved so quickly at the end. I'm still reading the League of Gentlewomen Witches, but this morning I had an audiobook on my Libby and it's perfect for this video. I didn't really add it to my TBR at the beginning of the video because it was a long wait, but it's Legends and Lattes, which perfectly fits with the cozy fantasy thing we have going on in this video. So I shall be reading it today because today we're picking a baking, which I'm quite excited, and I think it's going to be perfect to read with Legends and Lattes because, in case you didn't know, this book follows a orc that has decided to put down her sword and open a little coffee shop in a town that has never heard of coffee before. I am very excited to get to it. Let's get a beige. Beige is baking. Bake apple crumble. This is a good one. I actually have some apples in the fridge which need to be used. Sounds amazing. We shall do that. I haven't actually baked apple crumble in this channel before, so excited. We're going to be baking apple crumble this afternoon after I finish with my work for the day. I'll be listening to Legends and Lattes throughout the day as well. So, okay, let's get into it. Hi, so I've just finished baking and I'm now gonna sit down to read and eat a bit of this. So I did eat a bit of the crumble, but with the topping for the crumble, what was left, I transformed it into biscuits, I guess. They're very buttery and they melt in your mouth. And so I thought they would be perfect to have with some tea while reading. I really liked the addition of the nuts on the crust. It just gives it a little bit of extra flavor. And I think it will be amazing with some ice cream, which I don't have at the moment. So I might go get it later on to have that as dessert. I then added some cinnamon to the crust mixture, more flour and a little bit of honey. And they taste so good. I am literally at 52% of Legends and Lattes, and I'm really having a good time. I do understand why people say that it's very slow and not a lot happens, because basically they've been just building a coffee shop till now. That is it. You've met some characters, so the main character Viv purchased a building. She then got someone to help renovate it. Then she hired someone to be kind of like a barista / her assistant. And they've been working together. We've now had maybe like a month working and having the coffee shop open. And now for the first time, there's a little bit of something happening with maybe kind of like a local, like mafia boss. And it's just been so nice and cozy. And I think it's perfect to listen to the audiobook when you're doing something else. Because a few reviews I've heard that people that don't like it, it's because they say it's very slow and nothing really happens. And I'm listening to this at 1.25 speed. I was a bit afraid that I would be very bored and I wouldn't want to continue this book, but the audiobook at 1.25, it's so good because it doesn't feel rushed and it feels like you're just spending some time with these people that are taking care of a coffee shop. It's super nice. I'm having a blast. I said I was going to sit down and read, but actually I might do some cleaning around the house and just continue to listen to this because I don't really want to stop. But we'll see each other tomorrow. Hi, welcome to the last day of this vlog. I have successfully finished all 3 books that I've been reading throughout this week. Yes, it's the end of the day. I did spend all day reading the League of Gentlewomen Witches, and we'll get into that a bit later on. For now, let's pick the new activity of the day. I'm feeling like going on a walk this evening, so I thought because we haven't picked a drink yet, it would be the perfect time to pick a drink. So let's do that. Oh, there's one right at the top. Perfect. Ooh, make hot chocolate. Yes, this is perfect. I'm gonna make the most velvety hot chocolate ever in my velvetizer. Yes, I have one. And yes, it is worth the hype. We'll be doing that and going for a walk. It does look like it might rain, but even if it does, I will be excited to go on that walk. Now let's talk about the books. The first one I finished was The OK Witch by Emma Steinkellner. This was such a lovely graphic novel about a just quirky little girl that discovers on Halloween that she is actually a witch. I had a really good time with this graphic novel. There was something that kind of annoyed me. It's something specific that happens. I don't want to give spoilers, but there's a bit of a backstory to something that happened to the witches. And that part I didn't really enjoy, and how it came into play throughout the story. I also thought the end was a little bit too convenient. That being said, those are the only two negative things that I have to pick out of this book. I love the characters. I love the main character and the sidekick best friend and the talking cat, and even the mom and the complicated family dynamics were really relevant. I am 100% picking up the next one. Oh my god, her outfits are perfect. I wish I had all her clothes. I then have Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. I read this in an afternoon, really, when I was baking, and oh my god, this was so heartwarming. Unfortunately, I do think this is a type of book, because it's so low stakes, I feel like it's gonna be a bit forgettable. But I just love the whole reading experience. I really enjoyed the relationships they formed. The realization of that whole plot line was just so heartwarming and perfect. The plot was just very simple. You're following Viv as she is trying to open up a coffee shop. There's nothing dramatic. There was a little bit of a subplot of maybe mafia, but it gets resolved very quickly. There's no big drama about it. I thought the themes approached were relevant, even though they weren't very prevalent. You know, it was a queer romance. You did have multiple creatures, and they talked about how creatures are a bit ostracized and that sort of thing, but it was so light. It was good to have the inclusion, but maybe it would have been a bit better to go a bit deeper into those things. The setting was just your classic fantasy setting in this kind of medieval world where you go to the pub for food, you drink your ale out of a tankard, and that sort of thing. All in all, it was just a simple, heartwarming story that I would highly recommend you read while baking something. Now, let's move on to the League of Gentlewomen Witches. I really enjoy this book. Not as much as the first one. I think the first one, it was new and a bit different, and I really loved the characters, and I don't know, I preferred the first one. I really struggled to get through this book. Not because I didn't like the book or the writing or what was happening in the book, but because at this time of year, the only thing I want to read are atmospheric books. Books romantic and whimsical and just have this deep atmosphere, rainy days and misty moors and jackets and scarves and that sort of thing. And this series of books has amazing humor, perfect banter, and quirky, lovable characters, interesting, fast-moving plot. But if there is one thing it doesn't have, is atmosphere whatsoever. Throughout the book, I was pretty sure they mentioned that it was autumn 2 times. Like to do with bundling up and how cold it was outside and how maybe leaves were falling. I don't remember details, honestly. Then there's this mention of poppies being in season. How are poppies in season? Poppies are summer flowers. I really just wanted to read atmospheric, cozy fantasy. That was why I struggled to get through this story, because the first book, The Mysterious Society, it took me a while to get into it, but when I got into it, I couldn't stop reading the book and I loved it. I thought it was so fun and just amazing. I don't think I should have read this book wanting what I wanted from books at this moment in time. I will still give it a 4 stars because it was a good book. It just wasn't what I wanted right now. And yeah, like before I started filming this video, I was actually reading In the Company of Witches, and oh my god, how perfect was that? In every chapter they were mentioning wind, swirling leaves, baked goods, warm drinks, bundling up in scarves, even a magical scarf that changes shapes according to like the outfit and how the day is outside and that sort of thing. It's just perfect for this time of year. The perfect cozy fantasy story. Kind of mystery cozy fantasy story. I finished that one and started reading the League of Gentlewomen Witches when filming this video. So let's pretend I've been reading In the Company of Witches, because that would have been so perfect for this vlog. Still, I did like the League of Gentlewomen Witches. I do recommend this series. Now actually thinking back, I recommended it in my recommendations video, and I don't think I should have, because according to what I feel like are the perfect books for autumn, I don't think these ones are. I think those are my thoughts on the books. All of them were definitely 4-star reads. I would recommend any of these books. I really enjoy them, including In the Company of Witches. And yeah, let's go on this walk. Hi, welcome to the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed autumnal activities video. As you can see, there's still a lot of things in here, so I may do a second one later on in autumn. But I do have some other things planned, including a cemetery picnic as I did last year. I love doing that. I do also have a new pile of Dark Academia books, plus a few others I already had. So I'm planning of making my way through those. There are a couple of new Dark Academia releases as well that I want to get to. Welcome to the autumnal season. I know we've had 4 Beginner's Guide to Autumn videos from me this year, but now it's the start of all the vlogs, which is so exciting. There will be a kind of other recommendation video in the form of my September wrap up, and then hopefully my October wrap up in the beginning of November. So stay tuned for that. Oh, I'm just so excited to get all of the autumnal activities. If you enjoy my style of videos, please subscribe to get notifications of all of the exciting videos I have coming up. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for being here, and we'll see each other next time. Bye!